Welcome to the Be Strong Show. I am your host, CEO and Chief Heart Officer for Be Strong International, Michelle Shirley, here with you. I'm so glad that you have joined us today. You are in for a treat, especially if you are in the teaching field. So, before we go further, I want to share with you again that we have our amazing Social Yaks game that we've released now for quite a while. And listen, if you are an organization that wants some engaging team building activities with your team, if you want to have team members understand the importance of a healthy work culture, we are your resource. Please ensure that you book us today for a session. Your team will not regret it. It is a fun way to engage all team members that work for your firm. So, looking forward to hearing from you. So, going forward now, I have an amazing guest today. Her name is Michelle Singh. She is the CEO of a learning firm, LCTF. I'm trying to remember all that, right?
LCTE.
LCTE, Learning Center. But we have talked before the show and just amazing work that you are doing. I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay.
But amazing work that you are doing. So cue Michelle because she is incredible. And we are matching a little bit in our pastel Easter celebration that's still going on.
Totally not planned.
Not planned, but we both look great. Yes. So I want to say to you, Michelle, well, for anything, we were just talking about how, so you have the Michelle Today show, right? And when Michelles usually engage with one another, usually.
Yes. First of all, it's always great to meet another Michelle.
Right.
But then the first question we always ask is, Michelle with one L
or
Michelle with two L's?
And if it's two L's, it's like, yes. And if it's one L, we're like, okay, but you're still a Michelle. You're still a Michelle. So for all the Michelles that are listening or laughing, I know you get that because that is a lifelong thing that we always do anytime we run into a Michelle. And it's just between Michelles. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to share too that you're from Jamaica.
Yes.
My parents are from Jamaica. Oh my God, don't you just love Jamaica?
Jamaica is born in Jamaica, came to America when I was 9 years old. And so Jamaica is my happy place. Jamaica is my joy. I go every year and I could just feel the energy and the happiness just as soon as I could see the island from the plane.
I'm telling you, every August, my team knows I disappear. I disappear for my birthday and I am out of sight, out of mind for at least a week because I need to go there and just breathe. And I feel like my burdens are lifted.
It is.
When
it's like
I get there.
It's true. It's like you don't worry about the things that you worry about when you're here. No. It's very true. And so because it's my place of joy, it's my reset, it's my recharge. I always wanted to have other, especially teachers, feel that way. So one of the things that's in my vision plan for the next year or so is to have a retreat in Jamaica for teachers. So coming soon. It's in my head and I'm about to take it out of my head into real life.
Okay. And I'm not a teacher, but I'm putting in a request that I might want to just join you
Come
guys.
one, come all, right?
I love that. Oh my goodness. So as we go into the topic today, a little bit about just the teaching field and what you see going on. I know you shared with me that you were a teacher for many years and then moved into the district level. I want you to talk about your experience a little bit being a teacher and what you saw.
Sure. So I went to college let's backtrack. My mother was in education. She worked with younger children in the preschool. And I used to always volunteer there when I went to high school and even in middle school. And so I always knew that teaching, it pulled me. And I knew that was like the lane that I wanted to be in. And when I was in high school, shout out to Miami Southridge Senior High School. When I went to high school, I interned. There was this program called the Advanced Academic Internship Program. And I did that program senior year. And I wanted to be a school principal because my school principal, Mrs. King, shout out to Mrs. King, she was the epitome of just what a leader was. She looked like me. Everyone respected and loved her. And I wanted to be like Mrs. King. And so I wanted to be a principal. And when I went to college, Florida State, I wanted to be a principal. And those people told me, they're like, you got to be a teacher before you're a principal. I'm like, what? So I had to find a major, an area that I would teach. And I remembered my English teacher telling me, Michelle, you know, you're a good writer. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and do English education. So did English education, graduated, started teaching at Robert Morgan Senior High School, Educational Center. I live south, and I was there for quite a while, taught there. I was a classroom teacher for 10 years and taught secondary language arts, and I absolutely fell in love with teaching. Fell in love with being a classroom teacher, fell in love with the subject area, fell in love with the students, and then the opportunity to just be creative and be authentic and just be real and teach students about literature and writing, but in a way that was fun and joyful. And so that was my experience in the classroom. And then I got an opportunity to reach more and teach more, I guess you can say. And I moved to the district level on a team that was, I guess the team was called the Digital Convergence Team, and we were responsible for all of the technology innovation that was happening in the school district and training the teachers and the school leaders and all of anything technology. Our little team did, and so saw that as a great opportunity to build my skills, my leadership skills, and just be in more classrooms outside of just my own. And I did that. And so I did that, spent 15 years total in Miami-Dade County School District. And I had an opportunity to go on an even global level. And I got a position to be a Microsoft Learning Consultant, doing teaching and training for Microsoft. And I did that, and that just opened my eyes to what it was like to be a different kind of teacher. I could still teach and reach more and teach more, but on a global level. And so when I did that, I realized I can do this and do this in my way and in my lane. And that's when I started LCT-E Learning Solutions, leading, creating, and teaching to empower.
Wow. I love that. That's really incredible. So then tell me, was it the turning point for you, maybe the success of it all and seeing the wide scope in which you've mastered teaching and the innovation behind it in a massive way that made you really start LCT-E Learning Solutions?
I think it was the opposite. It was seeing the gaps.
So that's what I want you to talk about. So I want you to talk about the gaps.
Seeing the gaps. When I started doing training on a larger scale, and I was training folks from all over the country, I started seeing gaps in where they did not have the pedagogical and in teaching pedagogies like the art and science of teaching, right? And they didn't have they didn't have the skills to reach and to teach students who were culturally diverse. There were still a lot of traditional styles and formats of instructional practices, and it wasn't because the teachers weren't trying to, it's just because they didn't know. It's like you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And I'm from Jamaica. I am culturally diverse. My students were also very culturally diverse, and I for me that was just innate to do those, to be creative and reach the heart of the human of the child in my classroom. And a lot of the things that I thought were just natural, a lot of the folks that I would come across would never know to do that. They never heard, I never thought of doing it that way. And then I realized that people just don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And so I started creating training and curriculum that focused on the culturally responsive side of teaching and learning. And so that's a lot of the work that I do, being culturally responsive, and also touching the heart of the student and the teacher, where the training is like rooted in resilience building. You know?
Yeah, that's really good. So then how now does AI play a part in some of this? Yeah.
Let's talk about,
Right?
so love technology, right? When I was in the classroom, I tell this story to the students I teach, because I also teach college and I teach new teachers. And I tell them this story because I want to, one, emphasize the power of not being the only expert in the room, and to giving your students an opportunity to be an expert and to teach you as
Right.
well. I learned Windows, I want to say it was Windows Movie Maker. Yes, that's it. You know, it was back in the day, because I don't even think it exists anymore, right? And so one student taught me Windows Movie Maker because he wanted to do his project using Windows Movie Maker. And I was like, okay, show me. And he taught it to me, and then I let him teach the class. And I was so proud and interested and just driven by just the power of the technology and the interest that the students had in it. I decided that I was going to get a degree in educational technology, and that I did.
Wow.
And then it's kind of been like, since then, in the beginning stages of my teaching career, technology has played a major role. And I would say that technology has been the reason that I have been able to also kind of move up in where I am. And here comes AI. I've done training on AI, but not just how to use AI. Not just, I'm gonna teach you how to use ChatGPT, but I'm gonna show you how to use AI to create culturally responsive spaces and to personalize learning for your students who are sitting in your classroom, that are back in the cut with their heads down and their voices silent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I love it. And I love the opportunity to leverage it for those specific things.
But then I love what you said, because then what allows, or what tools then would a teacher really need to focus on those kids that are in the back with their head down, that's silent?
Relationships. I mean, you have to have, the relationship comes first. There has to be relationships in the classroom. There's a TED Talk by Rita Pearson, and in the TED Talk, she says, people don't learn from people they don't like. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
If you don't have a relationship with your students, why should they listen to you? They're not.
Yeah.
So it all goes to relationships. So the tool that teachers need is relationship building.
Yeah.
The other stuff comes, but you cannot be effective in the other things if you don't have that relationship first.
Yeah. And they have to know that you care.
They have to know that you care, but you also have to,
and that you value them.
The value, the being seen, the honoring, all of that. And you also have to know how to communicate with them. Yeah. And you also have to know how to communicate with them in a culturally responsive way. Yeah. Because how you communicate with one is not how you're going to be the same. Yep. Wow. Exactly.
Wow. So then someone calls you. They say, Michelle, I've heard about LCT-E Learning Solutions. What is it specifically that you are offering, and to whom? Is this for teachers? Is this for administrators? Is this for principals? Explain that a little bit more.
Sure. So I do training and development for teachers. So the people who I meet with are usually the school leaders, the administrators, the district leaders, because they want to bring me in so that I can equip their teachers with, the skills to use technology, with the culturally responsive, cultural competence, with the ability to be impactful while still sustaining their well-being. Like, those are the three things. And so I usually meet with leaders, school principals, district leaders, but I work with teachers. The teachers are the people who are sitting with me, not just in front of me. They are sitting with me. They're sitting alongside with me. We're learning from each other. We're sharing. We're growing. That's with the teachers. But the school leaders are the ones who usually bring me in. Okay. And of course, there can be trickle down effects of who I support, because I've also had school leaders in my trainings too, because the content that I teach is it's I would say it's human.
Right. It's for everyone to tap into, right? And understand how we can better engage
Absolutely.
everyone.
Yeah, it's engagement. It really, in relationships and engagement and
I love that.
Self-care.
Yeah, I love that a lot. So then, we met because I saw you for the first time at the YWCA event. They had a huge fundraiser. Shout out to Carrie Ann Royce. Right?
Jamaican.
Right. Also Jamaican, right? Island Queens. But I do want to ask you, when I saw you and I heard your story about how that nonprofit organization elevated you in such a way, I'd love for you to share a little bit about that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love to share this story because when I started my business in 2020 during COVID,
Right.
because that was when there was such a need for a need for the type of training that I'm doing with relationships, with technology,
because teachers were like,
they were in a mess, lost, frustrated, you name the feeling.
Yeah,
they were feeling
and
it.
not to their demise. I mean, who would have known that the whole world was going to shut down?
Nobody would have ever predicted that.
Engagement would have had to, transition in a different way, right?
Never predicted that. And so I was happy to be in a position where I could offer training and resources to teachers during that time. In fact, that's how I wrote my first book. It was because of all of the things I had been hearing from teachers and working with teachers on. And I wrote the book as a resource for them to go back into the school year with all of this uncertainty. Yeah. So with the YWCA, when I started the business, I'm an educator. All of my degrees are in education. I mean, I've spent 15 years in education. I had no idea what I was doing with the business side. I had a lawyer help me set up my LLC and all of those things. And I just didn't know what my next step was, but I knew that I needed help. And I knew that I needed like a coach or guidance. And so I actually joined the Miami-Dade Chamber, and in their newsletter, I saw the YWCA advertising the We 360 program. And so it's like a women's entrepreneurship program.
Nice.
And I enrolled in that program. It was like a 10-week program where they taught you all the basics and advanced things to know about business. If you're a woman of color starting your business or have a business idea, you go to that class to help get all the information you need. You get coaching, and you get on your feet. You get the knowledge that you need to move on to the next step. And so I enrolled in the class, participated in the class. A part of that class was a pitch competition. I had never done a pitch competition in my life. I was terrified. Oh my gosh. But look at you now. Oh, so let me tell you. So did the pitch competition on the YWCA South Florida level. I was one of the top 3, and then I was selected to go to the national level. And I went to that pitch competition and got second place. Wow. This was the second time I'm pitching. The first time was here, second time there. And they gave me a 5-figure check for winning second place in that pitch competition. That was the first time anyone has ever invested in my business in that way. Wow. They saw something in the work that I was doing. They saw value in me to select me and give me that kind of support. Of course. And I will never forget that. Ever forget that. Never forget the experience with the YWCA. And so fast forward to now 2025, 4 years later. 5 years later, I would say, yeah. I think the program was in either 2020 or 2021. I don't quite remember. But anyway, now I am the instructor in the We 360 program. Wow. So kind of full circle moment.
Full circle moment.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And that's how we connected. And I said, wait a minute, we need to connect. And, I loved what you shared with me, and I'm still thinking about ways to connect you to other folks. Teach for America. come on the board, right? So
That would
just
be, yeah.
ways
I
in
mean,
which I
it's
think your work would speak volumes to those organizations.
absolutely, like, I've done work globally. I've done work with, I have partnerships with organizations like Microsoft. I've done lots of
Right.
work with different educational organizations and spoke at conferences. I'm doing work. I want to do a lot more work locally here in the community that raised me,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Like, I can tell you, I've played many roles in the Miami-Dade County school system, from being a student, being this little immigrant
So
girl,
was I. So was I.
you know, being a parent.
Vikings, go Norland.
Oh,
Norland Vikings.
yes, being a parent,
Yeah.
being a volunteer, being a teacher, being a district leader. I mean, I've played many roles. Being a vendor, I've played many roles in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and I just want to, while I'm here, want to continue to just shape what education will look like for those new teachers who are going in. And so I'm teaching new teachers now, and any organization that works with teachers in general, I am happy to come along and support the work that you're doing.
And I love it because it's full circle. You've been a student, you've been a teacher, you've been in the district level. You know exactly what it is that kids need from your own insights and experiences, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I think it's important that we invest in you so that you can come back and just be that love and light in the classroom, and to support the teachers that are doing really incredible work now.
Absolutely.
And I think it's even harder
Yes.
right now because there's so many distractions that kids are facing. There's a climate, the socioeconomic climate that we have in some of the schools that are very different from other schools.
Yeah.
You can be in one school and dealing with something completely different in another school in the same county.
Yeah.
That's 20 miles away.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
I mean, I see it. I see it all the time.
I experienced it as a teacher.
Yeah, I see it all the time.
One school that was a couple miles for 1 year that was totally different from my previous school. I had to go back to my previous school after that year because I was like,
what is happening, right?
Truth.
And there's so much there. So I think what you're doing is really, really special. We're going to wrap it up soon, but I want you to talk a little bit about, one of the books that you've written, your reflection cards here for teachers. Talk a little bit quickly about that. Yeah.
So I have a TED Talk.
Nice.
I did the TED Talk, and the TED Talk is focused on, it takes a community to raise a classroom, because I truly believe in relationships. I also believe in the value of community and partnerships. And I wanted to talk about my experience being a student, and how having community partnerships, how my teachers having community partnerships helped to shape me, and what teachers can do to also shape their classrooms by bringing in parents and community members and partners and things like that. And also talk about the power of story. And so this book is about that. This book is about
what's the name?
It's called From the Shadows to Stories. It's a reflective storytelling journal. So if you have stories, and when I talk about stories, I don't mean, I done made it to the top and I'm just going to tell you all the good stuff. Students learn from the experiences they're currently having. And if you don't talk about the times where you were sad and the times where you struggled and what it took for you to get out of those.
Yeah, it's real. It's real.
And then get to where you are, they're not going to resonate with those stories.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I truly believe is, like, when we're bringing in like guest speakers and things into the classroom, we need to bring people who are telling human stories, not just I'm CEO and this is what you see, this is what you get,
Yeah.
What was it like for me being that little immigrant girl in the classroom who was bullied, who was talked about because my accent was so strong, who was talked about because I looked different and my hair was fluffy and puffy. Right? And so you have to be able to talk about those real human stories to build relationships, and for people to understand that I feel like you felt, and look at what you did. I can do that too.
Of course. Of course.
And so that's what that is about.
Oh, I love that.
And then this other book here, it's a reflective journal for teachers. One of the most valuable lessons that I learned during my national board certification process as a national board certified teacher was how to be a reflective practitioner. You cannot understand what biases you have, what challenges you have, how you need to grow if you don't reflect. And so be reflecting, every day is a part of my growth. And I think it needs to be a part of the growth of teachers too.
Yeah.
And so this journal is just a way it has prompts. It's a way for you to reflect on your practice and be that culturally relevant, that responsive teacher that your students deserve.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. So we'll have information too that we'll post to share about where they can find those tools.
Yes.
I know we're coming down to the wire. I did want to play Social Yaks for just a second so that more people can understand Michelle Singh and who she is, right? So one question that I have would be, at a party, where can someone find you?
Oh, Lord. Okay. So which kind of party? A Jamaican party? Because that's different than an American party now.
Whichever way you want to interpret it. I'm going to leave that to you.
Okay. So at a party, you can... Oh, my gosh, that's a tricky one. I'm probably going to be with my friends or my family members who are there. If it's a Jamaican party, then you better know that it's going to be some good food there.
Yeah,
so I'm probably going to be where the curry goat is. Did
you have bun and cheese this weekend?
I always. Listen, okay, so my daughter...
It's a thing.
My daughter's in college. She's at Howard in D.C. I have to ship her bun and cheese every year for Easter.
It.
Every year. She texted me. She's like, Mom, can you please send the bun and cheese? I'm like,
how?
It's on the way. It's on the way. But yes.
So funny.
So if it's a Jamaican party, it's where the food is. And I'm not usually so close to the speakers because I'm getting up there in age and, the sensory overload is just there. But somewhere, just the music. I'm gonna be in the corner,
Yeah, doing your thing. Vibing. Okay. So, all right, I'll ask you the next one as we go deeper. This is good. What teacher had the biggest influence on your life? Is there anyone besides Miss King? I remember you said Miss King, but
there's so many. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oh my gosh. Biggest influence. There's one I talk about in my TED Talk, so y'all could check that out. I would say, I don't know who to talk. There's so many. Okay. I want to say my 6th grade teacher, she's around. She's we communicate even now. Dr. Connor Miller, shout out to Dr. Connor Miller. She was so bold. She was bold in her colors and just her presence. And she showed me what it was like to be a no-nonsense Black woman.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. That woman did not play.
Right.
And I loved that, just that authority that she had.
Wow.
And
very cool.
But she also built relationships with us. Even though she was firm, she was fair. And I mean,
and that's good to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good balance to have.
I would shout out Dr. Connor Miller for this one.
Awesome. All right, last question. What would you title the autobiography of your life?
The autobiography of my life, I would say, would be the masks that I wore.
Wow.
Because self-explanatory, but lots of, there are lots of times in my life where I had to wear various masks to cover up who I really am deep down, to fit in, fit into what society expected, to fit in what my family expected, to fit in what culture expected. And it wasn't until I reached my big age of 40 that I'm starting to peel back those layers and take off those masks and be who I really am. Michelle.
Well, maybe that's where I'm feeling right now, because I was telling my team, I feel like I'm going through a crisis where I'm just like, let's cut the crap. Let's cut everything that doesn't make sense right now. Cut it, right?
Yeah.
And you feel that freedom too of you know what? I'm unafraid. What is the worst that can happen?
That's it. It's
right?
the freedom.
It's the freedom of just being you and knowing this is my lane. This is the vision. Let's run with it together, right? And let's make it great. Yeah. So I love that. Okay. And so I'm going to put the last question. And this is what I love about the game. It allows the person to share something about you. And the question says, what's something that you will never forget about me? So it's about you. I think I'll never forget just your love for life, your vibrance, you know, this sense of like, you know what, I'm just gonna be me at all costs, whatever that is, right? I love the energy that you bring to what you're doing, and I can sense the passion of it so greatly that I know I'm gonna be like, I interview her and she's on TV. She's on TV. Right? In so much, in just incredible ways. So kudos to you. Any last words you want to share with the audience as far as how to get in contact with you and how to reach you?
Yeah,
please feel free to share.
So everybody knows a teacher. That's the first thing. I would love for you to connect with me. It's easy, connectwithmichelle.com. And I would love to be able to support and to uplift and to just share space with educators who are doing hard work with the children that we love so dearly, and do it in a way that leaves a lasting impact, and also do it in a way that sustains them, because there's too many good teachers leaving the field at very high numbers, and that number is even higher for teachers of color. I'm one of the teachers, but luckily I have been in a position to still be able to teach in my own way and still impact those students who are sitting in the classrooms. And so the work that I do focuses on truly equipping teachers with the skills and strategies and tools that they need to sustain themselves while in the classroom.
That's wonderful. I love what you said about hard work. And of course, that's what we do. So I will sign off today just saying it's important that, you know, we all do the hard work that's necessary so that we can be the stronger community that we need to be together. Michelle Shirley, your Chief Heart Officer, signing off. Make it a great day.